Hello everybody and welcome back on South Mountain Creamery Farm. It's getting towards autumn here. It's a little bit of a chill in the air today, but nevertheless our harvest is ready and we've got a few things going on the farm. So although it's only 6 o'clock in the morning, we got plenty to see to already. So first I'm just going to take you over to just cutting in front of that guy there. I'm going to take you over to a little open area here. Can I make it? No. Gotta make sure we don't run it down any of our customers. Although they do take their time crossing the road, don't they? Anyway, we're just going to have a quick look over here because we've started some work since last time. As you can see, we've got a construction crew in, and they've been clearing off, stripping and leveling the soil here. This is then going to turn into a concrete stand, and we're going to build a new shed to store some of the bales on. It's a little bit away. It doesn't encroach onto the space that we use as overflow car parking when we have events or when the shop gets busy. But it at least allows us to store some of the bales, because as we got to get harvest underway today, there's gonna be more straw bales coming in, and we already got sheds full of hay bales, so we might need to do a little bit of shifting. But today the focus will be on getting the harvest done and just keeping an eye on the construction team as well and see how they get on. So the weather forecast is for rain, so we need to get cracking because it still looks okay right now. But before we do that, I just do need to get a couple of loads of feed mixed up for the cows. Obviously, we got a bunch of new cows on the farm in the last episode, and we now want to make sure that they're properly fed, obviously. So we'll pop down and get that done super quickly, and then we'll actually get harvesting and maybe also baling on the go. Because since the straw is dry right now, if we can get it in, then obviously that'll be brilliant. But to begin with, let's just get some feed mix on the go here. If I just sort of park up here in the middle, allow space from both sides, and we'll get the mixer going, and then we'll just start loading in some hay and silage maybe. Because we're short on straw right now, I'm not necessarily going to put in straw, although we're obviously going to have more coming in. But we'll start by putting in a couple of hay bales and top up with silage basically. And that, in my experience, give a pretty decent mix. As you can see, we still got a decent amount of hay in here, and there's plenty more in other sheds around the farm. Obviously we do have to feed the sheep as well, and they've been producing quite a bit of wool, so it'll be time soon to get some of that sold as well. But I don't know if we're going to have time today. It's one of those tasks that at least can wait a little bit. But for now, let's just get this feed mixed up. So that's our feed mix done. The old Hurleman is struggling a little bit here when the cutter is going at the same time, but I want to keep mixing that feed until we can get it right down in the trough level here. Okay, so here we go. The cows are overall looking fine on cow food and other food sources, but we do need to drop in a little bit more straw for the bedding. I suppose now that it's autumn, it's only natural that we want a bit more bedding in for them as well. So one of the issues with our current bale storage is obviously that we're quite full down here, so it gets very tight, and as you can see we're basically full up on hay, and we've only got a little bit of straw stacked up on the side here. Now as weather gets colder, we are going to need a bit more straw, and ideally we need a little bit more space to turn around in here as well, so we don't keep bumping in, or like we did now, drop the bale because we can't quite get the right angle on things. We'll manage, but it'll be nice when we get the new shed established, because we can actually probably take a couple of loads of the hay out of here and put it down, but we'll just cut that bale open, give it to the cows. That's looking deep enough now. With that done, we'll just get the feed mixer put back, and then it's straight on to our borrowed combine. We still do need to pay the machinery shop about $20,000 for the loan on the demo of the harvester, but that basically covers the whole summer and all of our fields, so that's actually not a bad price at all. We're going to use the Fendt 720 for carting grain today, and since I'm down this end of the farm, I might as well just hook the trailer up and bring that over, and then we'll get the combine out into the field. Right, so we've still got the Fendt harvester sitting here in the shed. We'll get that out. But I've also just had a call from the construction crew. A couple of the guys have showed up, and although it's looking like rain, they're quite happy to start putting down some of the foundation. So occasionally in between the harvest we'll take a little look at how they're getting on. Apparently there is a cement mixer due to arrive very shortly, so might actually just wait and see when that shows up. So the backhoe here seems to be just doing the last bit of trench work as they start getting on with pouring some of the concrete for the base here. So that's the pouring underway. They seem to be knowing what they're doing around here, and we got plenty to be getting on with in the harvest, but we'll check back on them from time to time, see how things get on with the foundation. So as I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes, we don't actually have a header trailer for this one, because that was needed up at the shop, and obviously when they come and collect it, they'll bring the header trailer back. So I just got to wait for the traffic here. It's not an awful long way around, so I reckon I can just sort of skirt around the corner. They're all turning fantastic, so I can just get up here and we can get going on harvesting the first 2 fields a week. The corn is still looking a little bit like it could do with a bit of maturing, so we're going to focus on the wheat harvest to begin with, and obviously we want to make a decent amount of bales out of this as well. So I think, I'm not too familiar with this machine, but yeah, of course we were doing canola last, so I just gotta change it over to make a swath instead, and then we'll be on our way. I think that should be the settings okay now, and hopefully we should start seeing some straw swath. Yeah, that looks better. Excellent. I'll turn the beacons on while we're off in the field here. And obviously we got slightly funky shaped fields here, but we get cracking on some harvesting. It's good to start getting stuff in. Now the wheat can just be sold. It's really only the straw that we need for the cattle. So yeah, hopefully we'll make a little bit of money on that as well. So we didn't make it all the way around in the headland before we filled the tank in this combine, so I'm just going to have to phone down and see if a couple of the guys, we're going to get some workers in from the dairy plant and help out here today, but they usually come in a little bit earlier or a little bit later than me, so I'm just going to see if they're around so they can bring the trailer out. Excellent. So with the unloading underway, we are looking like we're getting a good yield here. That's not even one round around the headland for filling up. Obviously it's not the biggest combine in the entire universe, but that's still pretty good going. So I'm pleased. What we can do is, while we're emptying out here, we can just check over on how our construction crew is doing. So it looks like the worker was saying they're getting on really well. They've poured perhaps about the first quarter of the area for concrete. At least the weather's holding up, which is brilliant. We probably want to start thinking about also getting the big fent out and doing some baling as soon as we make a little bit more headway into this field. I'll get one of the guys to drive the combine probably while I do some of the baling, and yeah, it's all go on South Mountain Creamery today. That's another tank load for us, and if he can get his head out of the phone over there on the tracks, I'll just radio over to him and see if he can come and pick up the grain. Well, you got here in the end, not too bad. Once again, while we're filling up, just have a quick look over at the workers and see how they're getting on with that concrete foundation. So that seems to be going very well here. They're pretty much over halfway already. They seem to know what they're doing. So I'm just going to do the last little bit of this side of the headland, and then I'm going to swap with the worker. He's going to go down and empty the grain cart just now, and I'll try and double up and run the grain cart and get some baling done in the meantime as well. Once he's done, I just want to make sure that we get a consistent readout on yield and everything here, and that all the settings on this combine is right, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But we seem to be getting on. I'm still a little bit concerned about the forecast for the rain. I'm kind of hoping that it'll hold off till the evening, and that we can manage to finish at least one of the fields. We got 2 fields to harvest. At least if we could get one done before we get rained out, that would be really good. So although the combine isn't full up here in the corner, we're just gonna get the worker to come up here, and he's gonna take over on the combine. We're gonna see if we can fit what's in the tank into the trailer. Then I can take that down and get it emptied, and he can get started on the combining here. I think we should be able to squeeze most of it in at least. Well, he's used some slightly different GPS settings, so he's gonna make a more angular cut, but we can live with that. He seems comfortable, and he's worked this kind of machine before, so as long as there's room in the tank for me to come in to the cut at some point, that should be fine. But we'll get this first load of wheat into our silos, and we'll get the baler out as well, and I can just cut up through the farm here at least. It's quite handy having fields that are this close. And that's us tipping our first load of wheat. Just get it pumped over to one of the silos. Not that we have a huge amount of grain stored right now, but obviously at the end of this harvest we will. So I'm gonna leave the trailer here just for a moment, and I'll get the baler hooked up to the other fender. So we've got the baler on, and we can get cracking. I'll just swing by and see how the guys are doing over here on our concrete foundation. I want to make sure they do a good job. So that's actually looking really good now. 3/4 done, and I did have to ask them to not drive the mixer right up on the concrete, although it's fast set. I was starting to see a few divots, so they've rolled that out and they've sorted it out, so it's all good. And I think as long as the rain doesn't start, we should be good. But I've just had a call. Our worker's already full over on the field, so the baler will wait here for a minute while I hop over and get some grain collected. Really could do with another worker on here today, but obviously with the influx of new cattle, the dairy plant is also running a bit more intensively than usual, so there's plenty to do here. But I'm hoping we can get this field finished today, and once we can start the baling and the concrete foundation is setting, then hopefully very soon after that we'll start seeing some construction work going up, so we have a shed to put those bales straight into. Seems our new cattle is mixing in nicely with the older herd. We've had no issues on that account at least. And here he is. He seems to be getting on with it quite fine actually, even if it is a bit of a funny angle, but we can live with that. So I'm just going to get somebody to run me back down in the car, so I can get the baler collected and we can leave the trailer with the grain out here. Yeah, so at least this way it doesn't detract too much from somebody just giving me a quick lift down to the farm. They can get back to work, but it saves me having to walk all the way, because that's going to take a long time for me as well. And we are against the clock and the forecast here, of course. Right, better get started on this baling as well. At least if the bales are compacted in and the rain does start, they can withstand a little bit more than if we just got loose straw lying here in the field. So we'll crack on with that while I can see my helper over there is carrying on with the harvesting, so everything's good. Well, that is it, guys. We didn't make it much further than that. The rain has set in right in the middle of things here. Well, I really can't complain. I guess it was forecast. Told the guy to stop cutting grain. There's no point in trying to bring wet stuff into the tank. At least the stuff we got is of decent quality. I think I can manage to get all of the straw wrapped up in the meantime. I just gotta hop over and put a cover onto our trailer here at least, so we don't have water running in. Well, weather changes quickly around here on South Mountain. You can barely even see the farm over there. And I also really should check on the construction crew, what this is going to mean for them. In fact, I'll phone over and see how they're doing. Right, so the good news is that the construction crew had actually finished pouring and smoothing by the time that the rain kicked in. And because they've used particularly hard and fast setting concrete, there should be no concerns about the fact that there's water running onto it now. So in fact, they're just about to take off, and tomorrow there'll be a construction crew coming in to start actually building the sheds instead. But it's nice to see something happening with regards to these things, but it looks like the guys are heading off now. So with the construction crew leaving and rain setting in, there's not much more to do, so I think this is a good time to finish today's episode here on South Mountain Creamery, but we will be back shortly because we got the rest of the shed to construct, and obviously hopefully the rain stops so we can carry on with the harvest. But thank you very much for watching this episode from Overcourt Gaming, and see you again soon.